When I went to college, I went to Bowling Green. I was going to be a business major, and I was going to make lots of money, and that's what mattered to me. And then between my freshman and sophomore year of the summer, I worked in a finance company. And by the end of that summer, I realized that I was bored out of my mind. It was something I could never really do. And then I started processing what I wanted to do. And by winter, I had decided that I needed to give education a real hard look. I decided to go to a summer camp that summer. I figured living with kids 24 hours a day, by the end of that summer, I'd know one way or the other what I wanted. The camp was Camp Big Silver, located on Silver Lake. I really didn't know what I was getting into at all. I had never been to a camp as a kid. When I got to camp, I finally realized that I had found something that meant enough to me that I was willing and able to pour everything I had into it. And because of that, I was really successful at it. I was really good at it. Literally, I was there for 1 week, and I had already made my decision. In my mind, I was already an ed major, and in my mind, I was coming back to Camp Big Silver the next summer. By my 5th summer, I was set up to go to the Peace Corps. In fact, I had already had a tentative placement in Paraguay. And I was ready to go, and then the director's position opened up, and that was irresistible. So that summer, 23 years old, I became the youngest camp director in the state of Michigan. At a place like that where the kids are there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and so are the staff, you have the ability to create an atmosphere that is exactly the way you want it, the way the kids want it, and you create this safe haven. For most of the kids that got off the bus at camp, that was the only time they were ever outside of the city limits of Toledo. You've got this little secluded place in the middle of nowhere that is absolutely safe for everyone. And kids and staff alike can go and be somebody different for a while. And over the years, you start to find people that you're going to bring into it, that are going to work with you. And the better I got at it and the longer I did it, the more I was able to surround myself with people who had the same kind of vision. Every opportunity I had, I'd get people to come to camp to do an interview, and sometimes I would come to them. Well, it just so happened, Amy was a freshman at Michigan. She and I set up an interview. I called her and she was like, "Oh my God, yes, I'm working at Kentucky Fried Chicken making biscuits at 5 in the morning. When do you want me?" I said, "Well, you can come and check out the camp anytime you want to." And 2 hours later, she pulled in the direct. It wasn't until our 3rd year, when she was assistant director, that we truly became best friends. And then it was a year after that when it became more than best friends. We were running it as a team. By the time we were done with camp, we were ready to have kids. And we debated extensively for years whether we could run camp the way we wanted to run camp and have babies around. And we recognized that that just wasn't realistic. I would even go as far to say that everything good in my life right now stems from my experience at camp and my connections to it. My wife, and therefore my kids, my best friends. It's what brought me to Michigan in the first place. The decision to come back here to raise my kids and live the rest of my life is obviously connected to camp. 5 years after I was gone, the property value of this gorgeous hilly peninsula on the shores of the lake was too much for the clubs in Toledo. It's boys and girls clubs. They run on a shoestring budget, as they do everywhere in America. And they began to realize that selling camp would allow them to endow the clubs in Toledo in a way that would have been impossible any other way, which is exactly what they did. I felt frustrated, truly angry. Felt as if the decision makers in Toledo had misaligned priorities. Kind of held that hope out that somehow or other they'd find the funds and something would happen and somebody'd donate. I was walking on the Potawatomi Trail and I saw smoke off in the distance. Walked to Silver Lake Beach where you could see across the lake and was shocked to see that the dining hall and the laundry building and the boathouse and the office, all the main camp buildings right down on the waterfront had been bulldozed into a giant pile and set on fire. It's kind of shocking. I mean, it genuinely was. I couldn't believe what I was watching. So I literally sat on a picnic table for about an hour and watched it all burn. And that was the moment that I realized it was truly gone and never to come back. And now there's a $1.7 million house sitting on that exact spot. I've calmed down a bit over the years. But I never felt as if the people who were running the show in Toledo ever truly understood the real benefit camp provided for kids. You have kids who are 20 years after they left camp still tell me that camp changed their lives and the program changed their lives. In the end, I came to realize that what was going on there was real. Connections with people, connections with the place, feeling like you've done something worthwhile. Those are going to remain with you forever.